All right, get this. We're diving into UFOs today. But, like, not just UFOs, we're talking about a potential secret government program, one that might be retrieving them. We've got two pretty interesting sources for this deep dive. One is a Breaking Points YouTube video, and the other is this really interesting X thread. Remember those congressional hearings about UFOs back in 2023? Things have gotten even crazier since then.
Yeah, those hearings really did kind of open a can of worms, didn't they? I mean, there's just been so much more public interest, and there's a growing demand for, like transparency from the government. And kind of right at the heart of it all is this mysterious phrase, Immaculate Constellation. Like, barely anyone was talking about it before those hearings. And then suddenly it's like everywhere, especially in online searches near certain military bases.
Okay, so journalist Michael Schellenberger, the one who's been all over this story. Well, he reports that there's a new whistleblower. And this person claims to have inside knowledge of a secret program called, you guessed it, Immaculate Constellation. And this program, according to the whistleblower, it's not just about, like, observing UFOs or UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena. It's about retrieving them.
And that's what makes this so interesting, right? We're not just talking about sightings. We're talking about possible recovery of actual crashed UFO parts. Of course, the Pentagon denies that this program even exists, but Schellenberger thinks that the denial might be a smokescreen. Remember that spike in Immaculate Constellation searches? Well, it happened right near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, like immediately after the 2023 hearings.
Yeah, wow. That timing can't be a coincidence, can it? So what is Congress doing about all this? Are they just, like, taking the Pentagon's word for it?
Not at all. Congress is actively investigating these allegations, the ones made by Dave Grush, the original UFO whistleblower from 2023. His testimony really shook things up. And now there's growing frustration in Congress about the DOD's, the Department of Defense's lack of transparency. They're not just letting this go.
Okay, so if the government is being secretive, how do we get to the truth? Schellenberger seems to think that this Immaculate Constellation name is key. Why is that?
So he makes this comparison to the Church Committee investigations, back in the 70s, the ones that looked into the CIA and the FBI. Those investigations exposed some pretty shocking stuff, but they wouldn't have gotten anywhere without knowing the specific names of the programs involved. Just like the Church Committee needed those names, knowing Immaculate Constellation could be crucial for congressional investigators. It helps them to, focus their efforts.
So it's like having a specific target to aim at. And that's where investigative journalists like Ken Klippenstein come in, right? He's really good at using FOIA requests, those Freedom of Information Act requests.
To get information out of the government.
Exactly. And for those requests to be effective, they need to be super specific. Knowing a program name like Immaculate Constellation is, it's like having a key to unlock the secrets. It gives journalists like Klippenstein something concrete to work with. And this is where that X thread that we mentioned comes in.
Yeah.
And things get even more complicated.
Okay, so this X thread was posted by someone called @Ruby, and they claim that a Department of Energy employee has come forward with even more information. They say this employee saw a 27-page document all about Immaculate Constellation, and that Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm is involved in trying to block Congress from getting this UAP information. Wait, the Department of Energy, what do they have to do with UFOs?
That's a great question, and it really gets to the heart of what this DOE employee is alleging. They're saying that there's been illegal restriction of data, even from the Gang of Eight. Hold on, the Gang of Eight, remind me. Who are they again?
Right, so the Gang of Eight is a group of top leaders in Congress, the ones who get briefed on, the most sensitive intelligence. This DOE employee claims that they're being kept in the dark, too. And not just them. The X thread also alleges that there's been a deliberate effort to block the release of UAP information to Congress as a whole. If these allegations are true, it suggests that someone is going to great lengths to keep this information hidden.
So we've got a whistleblower claiming a cover-up, Congress getting stonewalled, and the Department of Energy somehow involved in all of this. This Immaculate Constellation thing is sounding less like a sci-fi movie and more like a real-life thriller.
Yeah, it really does, doesn't it? And I think this is where we need to kind of take a step back and remember, all of this, these are just allegations right now. I mean, more investigation is definitely needed to, confirm what these whistleblowers are actually saying. But even if Immaculate Constellation turns out to be nothing, all of this kind of points to a bigger shift in how we're talking about UFOs. It's not just this fringe topic anymore.
Yeah, it feels like it's gone mainstream. I mean, we've got members of Congress, whistleblowers from different agencies, and journalists all over this. And, don't forget about that Google Trends spike. That seems pretty hard to ignore.
You're right, that spike is significant. It shows this like sudden surge in interest in Immaculate Constellation. And the location, well, it points to people connected to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. It makes
Yeah.
you wonder, right? Like, why would they be so interested in that term if there wasn't actually something to it?
Okay, so let's play devil's advocate for a second. Let's say these allegations are true. Like, why would the government want to keep UFO retrieval programs a secret? I mean, wouldn't it be a huge win to just come out and be like, hey, we've got alien tech?
Right. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Well, some people think that the government might be, worried about causing mass panic. Like, what if everyone knew about, extraterrestrial life?
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. People might totally freak out.
Yeah.
But wouldn't the benefits of having alien tech outweigh the risks?
Maybe. But others believe that the government might be trying to reverse engineer this alien tech, for military purposes. And they don't want other countries knowing what they're doing, like a secret space race or something.
Whoa, that's straight out of a movie. That's kind of mind-blowing to think about. But, I mean, we are just speculating here. The truth could be something completely different.
Exactly. We have to be careful about jumping to conclusions. But regardless of the reason, right? The potential implications of a cover-up, on this scale, they're huge. We're talking about transparency, accountability, who really holds the power. It raises some pretty fundamental questions about our democracy.
Yeah. It also makes you think about the courage of these whistleblowers. I mean, they're risking their careers, their reputation, maybe even their safety, just to bring this information to light.
That's a really important point. Whistleblowers play a crucial role in a democracy, don't they? They shine a light on things that might otherwise stay hidden. The fact that we're seeing multiple whistleblowers come forward on this issue, well, it suggests that there's a real push, like from within the government itself, for greater
Yeah,
transparency.
it is encouraging at least. But it still feels like we're a long way from getting real answers. Do you think we'll ever know for sure what the government knows about UFOs?
That's hard to say. But one thing is for sure, the more people that demand answers, the harder it'll be for the government to keep things hidden. Congressional investigations, FOIA requests, whistleblowers speaking out. Those are all essential tools for holding power accountable.
And that's where we, the public, come in, right?
Yeah,
We can't just sit back and wait for answers to, like, fall from the sky. We have to stay engaged, ask questions, and just demand transparency.
exactly. Don't just take our word for it, or the government's for that matter. Do your own research. Think critically about the information that you find and form your own opinions. Remember, even if we never get definitive proof of alien contact, the search for answers is valuable in itself. It makes
Mhm.
us question our assumptions, expand our understanding of the universe, and consider, like, possibilities that are beyond our current knowledge.
I love that. This Immaculate Constellation mystery, it's just one piece of a much larger puzzle. Who knows what other secrets are out there waiting to be uncovered?
We've only just begun to scratch the surface of this, like, this enigma. Who knows what revelations await us?
This is so fascinating. It really feels like we're living in a real-life sci-fi movie. We've kind of thrown a lot of information at you today, so take a moment to, like, let it all sink in. Maybe do some of your own digging. What stands out to you from everything that we've discussed? What are your thoughts?
We'll be back in a moment to wrap up this deep dive into Immaculate Constellation.
Okay, so we're back, ready to wrap up our deep dive into Immaculate Constellation.
I hope you've had a few minutes to think about everything. What are your thoughts on all of this?
For me, it's just like,
Mm.
it's how many people are involved now. You've got whistleblowers, members of Congress, journalists, even everyday people searching online. This isn't some, like, fringe group anymore.
You're right. It really does feel like a turning point, doesn't it? The story has momentum and it's forcing people in power to pay attention, even if, some of these allegations don't turn out to be true. The pressure for transparency, that's undeniable.
Yeah, and that's got to be a good thing, right? I mean, whether or not you believe in UFOs, the government should be accountable to the people. We deserve to know what they know, especially if we're talking about, like, advanced technology or even contact with other life forms.
Exactly. That's a really important point. The implications here, they go way beyond just UFOs. This is about the very foundation of a democracy. Transparency, accountability, and the right to know.
So to wrap this all up, what's the takeaway for our listeners? Like, what should they be thinking about after this deep dive?
Hmm. If I could leave you with just one thought, it'd be this. Never underestimate the power of asking questions, whether it's about UFOs or government secrecy, or honestly, anything else that matters to you. Don't be afraid to, dig deeper, challenge the status quo and demand answers.
I love that. And hey, if you find out any juicy info about Immaculate Constellation, let us know. We're always looking for more clues in this cosmic mystery.
Until next time, then, keep your eyes on the skies and your ears tuned to the deep dive.
That's a wrap, everybody. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe